Can we please stop addressing Ilhan Omar as a congresswoman? I mean, she's literally a fraud.
Now, you may have seen this video making its rounds on social media. This very weird, bizarre position that this woman is choosing to sit in to talk about Muslims. Folks, as I was telling you earlier, and it has been confirmed, that this woman who is cootermongering in all of these videos is in fact a real person. No confirmation on the authenticity of the camel toe, though.
Iran doesn't control the Strait. I control the Strait, and quite frankly, we have to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, which we did last year, totally obliterated it.
Holy hell, folks. All right, welcome to U.S. Democratic Socialists. No, we're not the DSA, and today we gotta talk about this cooter-mocking conservative MAGA woman whose conservative wet dream content is not only getting brutally roasted, as we'll see, but who's also getting exposed as, wouldn't you guess it, anti-Muslim Israeli propaganda. So this whole fiasco really started yesterday when people dug up a video from conservative influencer Savannah Cannon in which she said this.
Can we please stop addressing Ilhan Omar as a congresswoman? I mean, she's literally a fraud. This is a person who came to the USA to corrupt its people and resources. She went from negative $65,000 net worth to over $30 million and denies it. She denies it and she blames it on an accounting error. That's not all. Then there's the winery with no clear location, no wine at all, no phone number, no visible operations. It seems abnormal, doesn't it? And then she proceeds to insult the reporter asking about these things, asking her to explain it to the people. And on top of all of these unknown things, she calls World War II World War XI. So how is someone so fucking stupid able to become an important topic in this country? She is literally the trending topic in the United States of America. It blows my mind. She is the opposite of everything that we stand for in this country. And she literally married her brother. We do not marry our brothers here. We don't marry siblings here. We do not do that.
Holy shit, there is so much to unpack there. From her attire, her demeanor, the comments, her not citing any sources whatsoever, the general weirdness of the whole vibe, and the fact that, as I'll prove later, right-wing politicians are far more demonstrably corrupt than Democrats or progressives. But the heart of the controversy, if you'll forgive the phrasing, was brilliantly exposed and pointed out by fellow progressive content creator I Am Blakely. First, hilariously roasted in this instance, and then exposed for what this propaganda truly is. Take a listen.
Okay. Has been confirmed that this woman who is cootermongering all of these videos is in fact a real person. No confirmation on the authenticity of the camel toe, though. She is an OnlyFans model. Now, I can understand why people would think she was AI, especially because she's come to visit us from 2021. Watching some of the videos, all of her talking points are so outdated. Like, they're giving TikTok 2021, we hate wokeness. Look at all these politically correct people. I can't wait to offend you. It's like, Elmo, no one cares. But what I don't understand about Vajahoy over here is that it's like, why, if you have a successful OnlyFans, are you doing racist propaganda on behalf of the Israeli regime?
Yep. There it is, wouldn't you know? And that is not just speculation, as Blakely goes on to prove.
I don't need to actually play any of what she's saying, because it's just anti-Muslim hatred and bigotry. Who is this woman? Nobody knows. Why does she have such a professional setup that looks like it costs a lot of money? Nobody knows. Now, I thought that video was slightly sus, because why is somebody who we've never heard of in a very expensive podcast studio sitting there, vag hanging out, talking about how much she hates Muslims? And then I was reminded of this article from Dropsite News of a leaked report and a study that was done to test different ways that the Israeli regime could gain support again in the West. And one of their key findings was that as Israel was losing more and more support in Europe and in America, they found in their research that there is a plethora, plenty to go around in the West of anti-Muslim bigotry and Islamophobia. And so they found that it was easier for them to get people to hate Muslims and fear radical Islam and jihadism than it was to get people to support Israel. Israel's best tactic to combat this, according to the study, is to foment fear of radical Islam and jihadism. This is from their own report, you guys. The Israeli Ministry of Foreign Affairs, which is their Hasbara, their propaganda wing. It's what what they refer to often as the Eighth Front War when they're talking about the media fight. What Netanyahu called the most important part of the war now. They commissioned this poll to perform a sweeping battery of surveys and focus groups coupled with message testing aiming at rehabilitating Israel's image both in the US and Europe. So with all that in mind, let's circle back now to what's her camel toe and ask yourself, what is the purpose of this video? Soon thereafter, in early 2026, Israel approves a $1 billion Hezbollah budget to push their narrative across a multitude of platforms, influencers, media outlets, advertising firms, films, etc. And then when you look at that, all of a sudden there is a huge uptick, even more so than usual, because let's keep it real, we're already incredibly Islamophobic and bigoted against Muslims, but it's definitely gone up. And if you're wondering why, this is why. This is also why it's incredibly important for those who actually believe in Palestinian liberation, human rights, to continue to push back against this, because this is what we are up against. The reason why the narrative was able to change is because people kept telling the truth over and over and over again and pushing back against these lies. If people stop talking about it, if people stop pushing back on it, they will win by virtue of just how much output and money they have. So it's incumbent on everybody to continue to speak out against this and to continue to push back on their lies. Free Palestine.
And she is right. If we don't fight back, that type of propaganda, whether it is Israeli or American, works on these smooth-brained MAGA bigots. Just look at what she posted today about Mamdani.
Is emboldening us so that we no longer tolerate the violence of evictions as a matter of business as usual. My landlord owns dozens of buildings, but he is not a steward of the public trust.
Why do people expect to live in other people's homes for free? It's a mindset that I just don't understand. I don't get this concept. I was taught that you live in the home that you own and never enter someone else's house without their permission or you're trespassing and you can get shot. What happened to that? What happened to being able to pull out your rifle on someone that's on your property? Now you just have to let them in, feed them, and wipe their ass?
Like, the level of bullshit straw man arguments there with no one to debate, she's literally debating the camera, is absurd on top of so many other things. And the only way we can fight back is A, to call it out, and B, to roast, ridicule, and make fun of it, to socially ostracize these people. Like this person did by creating an AI meme. What the fuck is going on with these conservative influencers?
Iran doesn't control the Strait. I control the Strait, and quite frankly, we have to prevent them from getting a nuclear weapon, which we did last year, totally obliterated it, but it's like an annual subscription of some sort. They're begging for a deal, even though they bombed our bases last night.
And look, hopefully if you're on the US Democratic Socialist YouTube page, we're at least relatively on the same page about being vehemently opposed to the atrocities of Benjamin Netanyahu and the Israeli government, as well as the American government. And it sucks that it's somehow our responsibility to loop in center or center-left Democrats into recognizing it's a side or even speaking out against these tactics. But one way I would argue that we can do that is by bringing it back to stuff like this, calling out the hypocrisy, calling out how just crazy and cringe this all is, and pointing out how demonstrably false almost everything these far-right page shill conservative content creators say is. Remember how she talked about how corrupt Ilhan Omar is in that first video? None of those conservatives would ever actually do the research to understand what I'm about to say next, nor could they. The hypocrisy is laid bare when you realize that at the end of the day, Republicans are always more greedy and more selfish and more corrupt than even their Democratic counterparts.
Everyone say it's not left versus right, it's up versus down.
Okay, let's do some math. I gathered the net worth of every single member of the House of Representatives and included their starting net worth. And what I found was the net worth upon congressional entry was half among Democrats as it was with Republicans. Democrats, when they came into office, were worth half as much as their Republican counterparts. Then I looked at net worth increase per year in office and found the same thing. Democrats increased their wealth by about half as much as Republicans increased their wealth while they were in Congress. So right now it's starting to look like left versus right is up versus down, but I'm not done yet. I went and grabbed a few actual bills and looked at the actual voting records for everybody in the House of Representatives. Let's start with HR 2262, which is the company training bill. This bill would have allowed companies to stop paying training for their employees. The members of the House who voted against this bill were worth about half as much as the members who voted for it. In other words, Most of them were Democrat. Let's look at H.R. 4. This is the bill to remove PBS funding. The members of the House of Representatives who voted against this bill were worth about half as much as the representatives who voted for this bill. In other words, again, this was predominantly Democrats versus Republicans. Let's look at H.R. 1, which is the bill to increase ICE funding. We see kind of the same thing. The members who voted no to increase ICE funding were worth half as much as the members who voted yes. And again, the Democrats voted no and Republicans voted yes largely on this bill. I want to remind you that this data is all public. You can just go online and look at it. Saying it's not left versus right, it's up versus down is exactly what the rich members in Congress want you to believe.
So look, whether you want to push back against Benjamin Netanyahu's Israeli government, or Donald Trump's regime in the United States, or MAGA brain madness, or you know what, maybe you just want a better, more progressive society for yourself, your family, and your community. Well, either way, this is the place for you here at US Democratic Socialists. Thanks for watching. We're happy to have you. My name's Kenny Hesse, and I'll see you in the next one.